Welcome back to MBI's Barbecue. Today we're going to be doing some strip steaks. That's what we're having for dinner. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, MBI's Barbecue. Sold, by the way. The other day, my wife and I went out to eat at Perry's Steakhouse. She ended up with a New York strip. I ended up with a T-bone. It was very, very average at best. So what I told my wife that I was going to cook for her, and she's going to have the best steak of her life. We cooking some New York strip prime tonight. I'm going to show you guys how to do a compound butter. Very simple to do. You get yourself about two butter right there. Some oregano, about half a spoon. I'll put all the descriptions in below. So salt, a little chicken herb, just a little bit of it. Some fresh chives, rosemary, fresh and dry garlic. If you have smoked paprika or cayenne pepper, you can add it to it, but the family don't like to eat spicy food, so I'm gonna leave the paprika out. And then you mix it. Once you put everything on the bowl, you go ahead and mix it. Make sure your butter's room temperature so it's easier to work with. Once it's well mixed, you go ahead and just put it back on the fridge, let it freeze a little bit. And when the steaks are ready, you go ahead and put some of this compound butter on top of the steak. It's gonna take it to another level. Ziploc bag, or you can just put it in any container, put it back in the fridge, let it get hard a little bit. And this is how we're going to be topping our steaks with later on today. So what we're going to do next is we're going to season the steaks. I usually like to season them about an hour prior to that. We're going to use a Montreal steak. It does have a lot of salt content to it. So we are going to season the steaks for about 45 minutes prior to put them on the grill. That's going to let the salt penetrate the meat, and it's going to be flavorful throughout the steak. Hot start of the night. Right here, guys. Can you see that?
Yep.
We got some New York prime strip steaks. This is prime. This is choice. These are about a pound each. You see them, Gabo? Mm-hmm. Take a good look at them. We picked them at HEB. Y'all see all the marble in here versus this ones over here. They gave them to me as choice. They look more like a select. But anyways, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and heat it up with a little bit of English sauce. The purpose of the Worcestershire sauce, English sauce, there you go, is not too much for flavor. These ribeyes are bone in. The reason we put an English sauce on it is to let the rub stick to the meat. And like I said, these are very thick pieces of meat. Don't be afraid to throw some of this rub on it. Y'all see that? And make sure you season all sides. So make sure you got all the sides.
Wow.
And even the fat, the other side.
It's cool how the steak just stands up on the side.
Because it's thick. It's about 1.5 inches thick. What we're going to do is we're going to let them rest for a few minutes. About 40 minutes before we put them on the pit. Like I always do, I use the Montreal steak seasoning from Grill Mates McCormick. If you don't use this seasoning, you gotta use it, man. It's the best. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna season the asparagus. Like I said, I'm gonna use some of this spray oil, just a little bit, and then I'm gonna heat it up with the seasoning on it. Oops, Montreal steak. And then just give it a taste. Give it a taste. Give it a flip. There you go. Nothing more, nothing less. Cooking oil to clean up the grill. You don't have to do this. You can use an onion. I like to use cooking oil. And plus, it won't stick to the meat won't stick to the grill. So we're about to start doing the asparagus, and then we'll do the steaks. There you go, just like that. We're grilling those asparagus. They're gonna come out good. If you don't have one of these guys, make sure you get yourself one. The different brand. The brand doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but $7, $8 at Walmart will do the job. Make sure you have one of these when you're cooking steaks, because you do not want to overcook a steak. An overcooked steak is not a good steak. Usually when I cook steaks, I like mine on the medium side, medium rare. Some people don't like that redness in there, that little pinkish on it, but I think that's the best thing about a steak right there. Especially if you're cooking a prime steak, you wouldn't want to overcook that thing. You can dry it out. Usually what I do, like I was showing you guys this little thermometer. My steaks, I like to pull them out of the grill at around 125 internal temperature. You got to let them rest for at least 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. Let those juices of the steak distribute back within the steak. And with a prime steak, you still want to pull it up about 125, 126 internal temperature. You'll carry over to about 130, 135. Anything over 140, to me, that steak is too done, too overcooked. It just doesn't taste the same as a cooked steak that you can pull out at about 125 internal temperature. After about 45 minutes of resting with the seasoning on it, we're gonna go ahead and put them in indirect heat. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna start off with the bone-in ribeyes. We're gonna go ahead and put them with the bone facing the fire for protection. And these ribeyes are gonna go on this side. So what we do next is we're gonna go ahead and cover. We don't want to walk away from the pit because they cook real quick. They cook within 15 minutes, 10 minutes. And then, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and let the internal temperature on those steaks raise all the way to like maybe 110 before we give it the sear. That's gonna take us about the 125 I was telling you guys about. Splitting them so they can cook evenly. Even though it's indirect heat, you still want to have them cook evenly. So we put some of the compound butter we made earlier. We're gonna let it melt for a little bit, and this is what we're gonna base our steaks with. We're about 120 internal temperature. We're gonna go ahead and give them a nice sear. See that? We're already where we want them at as far as temperature wise. They're about 120. We're just gonna give it about a minute on each side and flip. 118, 119, 120. So they're almost done. As I told you, we're gonna base it with that butter on it. Nice crust. You see that nice here? Let me take a good look at it. Yeah, it smells good. Don't let the flames fool you. They're your friend. Remember that. That's what I'm talking about. Well, the steaks are ready. The purpose of these was to, since we didn't have a good dinner at Perry's Steakhouse, we are going to have a good dinner here at the house. Some good MVI styles steaks. I may not bring the customer service Perry's Steakhouse brings, but I'll bring the flavor. I'll put my steaks against Perry's steaks any given day. I guarantee you, my steaks will taste better.
I think it's the best.
The best in the world? That's what I thought. That's what I... Perfect pink.
What are you doing?
Perfectly cooked. Take it out. My wife. Better than Perry's Steakhouse or not?
Taste of Texas.
Better than the Taste of Texas? Ah, that's what I'm talking about. New York Street Prime right here, guys. Bye, guys. Here we go. Oh, wow. So tender. Very tender. Juicy. Full of flavor. Spot on. The butter. Spot on right here, guys. Compound butter. MBR's Barbecue. Don't forget to subscribe. Prime New York strip steak.